Have you ever imagined? I'm still sleeping, but the bank account is quietly growing. Not winning the lottery. It's not who gives money, but the money keeps coming back. It sounds like fiction. But really, this is how the rich have lived for a long time. While most of us are still dependent completely on monthly salary, it means stop working and immediately stop earning. Just a small change in life. Is that all financial plans can vanish? After just one night. It feels like climbing a boat. Fragile in large waves. If you break an oar, you can be swept away. Active income. Actually, it's about going to work every day to harvest. Reap as much as you plow. Rest is an abandoned field. Meanwhile, passive income is like planting a mango tree or perennial jackfruit. In the beginning, you have to plant the seeds. Once the tree grows, in the season it leaves itself, and you're just leisurely harvesting. And most people are getting it wrong. They think passive income means nothing to do. Money still falls into your pocket. I tried it a few times but didn't see any results. 7 hopes and give up. In fact, passive income is the same as seeding. It takes effort at first, it takes patience. And it takes a little skill so that the saplings don't die prematurely. It's not a miracle. It's the fruit of smart farming. What to do? To be able to enter the world of sleep, make this money safely and sustainably. They all have a recipe for principles. And most importantly, there are proven paths. These roads. It will help you turn one thing into many things. Step by step building the financial system, whether busy or resting. The money is still flowing. And that's what you're about to discover. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 8 properties. It can generate passive income, accompanied by real-world examples. And finally, a set of clear rules of action. So you can start today. So be mentally prepared. Because if you really want to get out of this cycle, waiting for salary. So this is the map. Take you on a journey to financial freedom. Full of excitement. And maybe just a few more years. You'll look back and laugh at yourself. Turns out I can sleep and still make money. And in the process of monitoring, if there's any kind of property that makes you nod, or you own, leave a comment below. And if you find the video helpful, don't forget to register and share. Let Len deliver this value to more people. The number 1 property. Real estate for rent. If you're talking about one of the income streams, the oldest and most durable passive, it's definitely rental property. 2 words: real estate. Many people will sigh and think, this is a game, it's only for the really rich. Abundant capital. But if you look closer, real estate for rent. It's a very everyday way to turn each brick per square meter into a silent money printing machine that works every day. And its principle is actually very easy to understand. When you own an apartment, a house, or simply 1/0 of the space, hire someone else, will generate a steady flow of cash every month. What's even more interesting is that it's not just the rent. It's the value of the property itself. It also increases over time. It's like you just got a monthly salary. It has just increased its long-term asset value. 1 arrow hits 2 targets. There's a story worth pondering. In the period when the VinFast automobile factory was established, the whole family quickly seized the opportunity. You don't just keep the land waiting for prices to rise. It's also built 40 guest rooms for workers and engineers. Rent per room varies from 1.83 to 5.000.000D. This one alone brought you about 70,000D income per month. It's not just numbers to cover lives. It's a big enough source of money to reinvest or accumulate. Try to imagine, while many are still toiling, working 8 hours a day to earn 10 or 15,000,000,000D. Your rooms are full. Still quietly working non-stop. They don't complain. not asking for a raise, no leave request, and regularly transfer money to the account. That sounds funny. But that's the nature of passive income. The property works on your behalf even when you are sleeping. This path offers many obvious advantages. Stable income from rent. That's what AI can see. Especially in big cities or industrial areas, where the demand for rent is always high. Add to that, real estate values often increase over time. Let's make renting a double game. Both current cash flow and long-term value accumulation. A house you rent out today. The following 15 could have cost double or triple BA. But to say, for justice, you can't just look at the bright side. This is a risky game. The first problem is capital. It's not that AI is willing to have a lot of money to buy land. Building a house. Many people have to borrow from the bank, and if the calculation is not good, interest can eat away at all profits. Next is the management of tenants. There are all kinds of tenants. Someone kept the room clean. Someone left a mess. And if you're not skillful at managing, fatigue is hard to avoid. The real estate market can also change. Economic difficulties, rental demand decreases, you will be forced to lower your rent, or acceptance for prevention. So walking down this road is not a problem. Just do it, rich. It requires careful preparation. The location must be reasonable. The loan and capital plan must be clear. Market needs must be carefully studied. And most importantly, you need to make sure this is a long-term journey. I can't wait to build a house today. Tomorrow I can eat 8 gold. The good thing is that you can start small. There doesn't have to be a 40-room hostel right away. Only one spare apartment for rent. Or a ground floor turned into a small shop. That's enough to bring back the first money. That's the seed. And if you nourish that seed with patience, it's going to grow into a financial garden. Every square meter of land you own can be an opportunity. Instead of leaving it empty, try turning it into a source of income. Cash flow from rental properties. That's the proof. Clear for one-time working mindset. Long-term benefit. And maybe right now you should ask yourself, in the house, the land or space that you hold, is there a place that's sleeping? It's quite possible to be a hard worker. Bring money back to you every month. Property number 2, rental of equipment and tools. If the rental property is wallet, like a brick and cement money machine. Rental of equipment and tools. It's like a little treasure hidden in a closet, where every object seems to be covered in dust. It can become cash flow if you know how. Cascade. This story is much closer. Because it's not AI that has hundreds of millions or $1 billion to build a motel room, but a spare laptop, a set of little-used speakers, or a camera bought for travel. Many young people today have it. Instead of putting the camera in the closet, I used my laptop a few times and left it in the corner, or dust-covered speakers in the warehouse. You bring them for rent. Others need equipment to take pictures. Filming as a project. Party, you are available. So the two of you meet, you have money, they have stuff to use. It's the use of idle assets. Turn things into hardworking money workers. Let's take your example of advertising. People who like to take pictures and buy a lot of stuff. Once Kwang's group of friends held a party and needed a camera. Flycam to bring back memories. Instead of outsourcing at a high price, they hired right from the station. In just one evening, the whole package of equipment brought you 2 million VND. That's not a huge amount of money. But think of a fun evening. While the equipment is already available, there's also an additional income. Not very cool or SAO. What's interesting about this model is that the initial cost was not too large. You don't have to be a boss to do it. Many young people buy gaming laptops to study, work and entertainment. Instead of letting it rest, it can be rented for several $100,000 per day. 1 month. Only a few tenants are enough to cover the depreciation cost. It's the same with a drone camera. The equipment. It is usually only used on special occasions. There is a very high demand from others. Here's how to create passive income that's easy to start with. Small capital and suitable for AI who are still in school, or just went to work. It teaches you the habit of using your assets, instead of letting them be a burden. Instead of looking at the speaker and the charcoal, I bought it and used it very little. You may think you can rent. Let it pay for itself. And then from there, you see that everything around you has potential. Words, but note that rental equipment is prone to malfunction, especially when falling into the hands of careless users. There is no shortage of bad story, cry, bad laugh. When the tenant drops the camera, damage the drone. To avoid loss, signing a contract of deposit is essential. It may be annoying at first, but it's a way to protect your tenants and the tenant. If you do this part well, you will minimize the risk and maintain a long-term relationship. One more thing worth emphasizing is the equipment rental market today. It was a lot easier thanks to internet. There are community groups on social media specializing in connecting lessor and renter. You can post the device information, price, and in just a few days there are guests. The development of these platforms has opened up opportunities to any AI, even those with no business experience. You can still start generating cash flow. Rental of equipment and tools. It's not just a way to earn more income. It's also a lesson in financial thinking. Look at property from a profit perspective. Don't just look at it as a cost. A camera bought about 20 million. If rental 300,000 per day, it only takes 70 days. Then it's all profit. It teaches you to look long term, how to calculate cash flow, and more importantly, how to turn every property around you into an opportunity. So, if you have in your hands less used items, don't let them sleep. Let's think about it. The old laptop, speaker kit at home, or even a fly cam you buy to film a trip. It can be a small source of income for you. No. Maybe today, it's only a few 100,000 or a few million, but it's the beginning. So that you train your passive money-making mindset. And sometimes from small amounts, you will build trust that passive income is not far away. It's in your own room. Property number BA. Space exploitation. When it comes to property, many people only think about money, gold, or land for sale. But there's a property. It's so familiar that we rarely notice. Space per square meter of land per yard. Every ground floor in your house can all be automated teller machines, if you know how to exploit. That sounds a little strange, but really, there are many vivid examples around us. Let's hear the story of a German family. They have an original clearing so that the grass doesn't grow green. If you look at it, there is no value. But then a construction company came in and asked for it, to make material dump. Two parties shake hands, signing a simple contract, and from there, every month the family has 10 million VND regularly. There is no need to sell or open a store. Just rent out the space I already have. An income that seemed to fall from the sky. But it's actually thanks to a new way of looking at property. The most attractive point of space mining. There is a need almost always. Especially in the big cities. People always need a parking space. A place to open a small cafe, a place to do an office. The problem is that not everyone has enough money to buy a place. Higher solutions are always a priority. This is an opportunity for those who have space. Turn it into a steady source of income. You can rent the ground floor of the house to open a nail salon, photocopier, or breakfast bar. The roof can be converted into a photo studio. It is easy to rent by the hour. The space behind the house can also be where to send vehicles or storage. Don't think that only big houses. The new land is valuable. Sometimes just a small corner, but in the right place, the right time, they can also bring back income to surprise you. Like any other form of business, of course. Space mining is not entirely pink. There are risks to anticipate. Legal is one of the most important. You need a clear contract. Specific regulations on the use of. Avoid the tenant turning his house into a workplace illegal or cause a breach of order. In addition to that is the risk of property damage. Rent the ground floor to open a restaurant. You have to be prepared for the wall to be smoky. The floor can be scratched. If there are no clear terms, the real one will be you. But don't let the risks discourage you. Because every risk has a solution. The tighter the contract, the more secure you are. The periodic inspection, agreement on maintenance or repair. It can be written from the beginning. When there is transparency, both sides will cooperate comfortably, and you've got more income and you've kept your property. What's more important is thinking. If you just look at the house, or your land as a place to stay, then it's simply a shade from the rain. But if you look at it as a resource, you'll see new financial opportunities. Per square meter per corner of the yard, every ground floor can become cash flow. As long as you think differently. And sometimes, it's these seemingly useless square meters. It gives you financial freedom that you didn't expect. Asset number 4: dividend shares. Mention of stock dividends. Many young people think about numbers. Dry con on electronic. Flashing green red like a slot game in the supermarket. But actually, and behind that shell of numbers lies a mechanism. Quite simple and attractive. You buy a small part of the business. When the business is profitable, they give you a share of the profits called dividends. In other words, you're depositing your money. Let the business go to work, and sit and shake your thighs and get the results. Sounds a bit like that. Ask someone else to work for you. And you're the little boss. There's a young man who bought 1,000 shares of a big bank. The initial value could be several hundred million. But instead of straining your eyes, watching the price rise every minute, the price is down, you just have to be patient. Each year the bank distributes about 12 million VND. That's the money. Pour into your account, like a small stream of water. No need to study. No need to type, no need to directly sell. You still have an additional source of passive income, just by patiently possessing. The great thing about dividends is that they're recurring. It's like getting an annual red envelope. It's different in that this envelope is thin. It depends on your business choice. And the joy doesn't stop there. In many cases, it's not just regular dividends. The value of the stock also increases. Over time. If the business thrives. The stock you bought today 20,000D, a few years later it could be 40,000. You just got a dividend. There is an opportunity to sell if you want to sell. However, the stock market is inherently volatile. When you're excited. When you panic again. If you choose the wrong business, you don't just get dividends. That the original capital can also shrink top quickly. There were many stories. New people are excited to buy it. Votes by movement. Hugging results for months without seeing dividends. I looked at the red account. It's like choosing the wrong partner. Instead of going up together, we pull down. So you have to do SAO to turn stock dividends into a sustainable source of passive income. The answer lies in choice. Pay attention to businesses that have a solid foundation. Business is stable and has a history of regular dividends. Big bank, water power company. Telecommunications industries that are hard to collapse. It's usually a safer option. Is that companies only promise high profits. A little trick is to think like a farmer. Sowing seeds in good soil. Care and wait for the harvest. Don't expect the harvest to be bountiful today and tomorrow. Another interesting point is that it helps you train your money. They make money clearly. When you see the money flowing into the account, just because you patiently hold on, you'll start to understand how. Let the property work for you. That's the big difference. Than having to sell your labor every day. And if you know how to start over, that is, take the dividend money to buy more. stock, the more powerful the compound interest effect will be. Over time, that little river can grow into a financial river that you didn't expect. Say for the same stock dividend. It's not exactly the get-rich-quick route. It's not for those who enjoy a night out, become a millionaire, but it's a persistent strategy. It's easy and worth starting early. If you are young, try researching some reputable businesses. Start with a small capital and be patient. Follow. Maybe one day, you will smile when you see your bank account are pumped in small but steady amounts. Just because you were brave enough to sow the seeds earlier than others. And until then, you'll see that it turns out. Investment can also be light and instantaneous. It's like an annual date with the lucky man. Called dividend. Property number of years. Corporate bonds or fund certificates. If the stock dividend, it's like being a small boss of the business, corporate bonds and the fund itself. It's like sending money to a trusted friend. Let them go to work for you. You don't have to worry about the day the market is green or red, stocks fly high or fall. You just have to wait for the deadline to get regular interest rates. It means you've invested through an investment fund or buy bonds issued by businesses. And in return, you get a fixed interest rate. It sounds confusing, but it's actually quite pleasant. Like every year, have another source of free milk tea for yourself. So, let me take one more example. A young person has in hand 10 million VND. Instead of putting it in a bank account, it's almost unprofitable decision to buy open fund certificates. This is a form of capital contribution. Let experts invest on your behalf. You are just waiting for the results. The average annual interest rate is about 8 to 9%. It means the amount of money, 10 million after a year was born, nearly 900,000 VND. You don't have to manage much. No need to open a laptop every day. You don't have to read long financial statements. The only job is to wait and be patient. This investment channel always provides relative safety than buying shares directly, where the price can dance continuously. Bonds or certificates of funds to help you sleep better. Lower risk than conforming. For those who want to try, enter the investment world. But not enough liver to bear the red market all day. With a small amount of money you can start. You don't need hundreds of millions to get involved. This is why many young people consider fund certificates the first ladder to get on the financial path. But don't get me wrong. This is a perfectly safe channel. Interest rate is fixed, but still lower than the stock's potential. If the stock can make a profit, 15 to 20% or more in good years. Bonds and certificates of funds, it's usually 8 to 9%. That's the price of safety. However, business risks still exist. If the company that issued the bonds underperformed, loss of ability to repay debts, bondholders also suffer the consequences. There have actually been such cases. And it reminds us that any investment channel needs to be explored before joining. To say it happily, bonds and fund certificates, like a quiet friend, little said but reliable. They don't promise to take you on a fancy trip right tomorrow, but will regularly contribute a part. Put it in your money jar every year. And sometimes it's the regularity. It brings peace of mind and discipline. Something that many young people lack when you get into finance. Another benefit that can't be overlooked is education. When you buy a fund certificate, you are being contacted, indirect to the professional investment world. You see how experts allocate capital. You learn the importance of category diversification. These are invaluable lessons, because it doesn't just give you passive income, it also trains you to think financially more mature. So if you're hesitating, remember that it doesn't have to start with big jumps. Sometimes only $10,000 is deposited into the investment fund. That's enough, so you can feel the joy of money making itself money. I know from that small step. You will have more confidence to later try out higher investment channels. More risky. And no matter how far you go, it is safe investments. Stable as bonds or certificates of funds. It's still a solid foundation on your financial journey. Finally, think of this channel as a backup pillow for your pocket. It doesn't make you instantly rich, but it teaches you how to accumulate consistently, how to wait patiently, and how to enjoy feeling safe. To know that somewhere, my money is quietly working every day. And sometimes it's the peace. It is the greatest gift that money can give. Asset number 6 reinvests the compound interest spiral. If there's a miracle in finance, that's compound interest. It's often called the eighth wonder of the world. And how to make the most of that power? It's reinvestment. Understand that instead of holding the profit or share, just receive to spend now. You use all or most of it to buy more property, buy more shares, or send it back to the old investment channel. The result is your capital. It doesn't just stop at the beginning. It's getting bigger and bigger. It creates an exponential growth cycle. And you Pink, a patient investor, is a good example. He decided to reinvest the entire stock. I received it within 25. Instead of taking money out to spend, you buy more shares of the same company. After 20 centuries, your wealth has increased tenfold. The magic is here. It's not because Pink has superhuman eyes. Choosing the right stock. I'm disciplined enough not to touch the apple as soon as it's ripe, but let the apple fall. Take the seeds and plant a new tree. One tree becomes two trees become a garden. The most obvious advantage of reinvesting is the power. The giant of compound interest. If you send the bank 100 million, with an interest rate of 8% per year and no later than 15, the amount is not simply 180 million. 100 million capital plus 80 million interest. Thanks to compound interest, that number can be up to nearly 2016 million. That means you're both profiting from capital and profiting from interest. The longer it takes, the stronger this spiral becomes, and the more you see growth. It's like snow coming down from the top of a mountain. It started out as a small ball, but the bigger it rolled, it eventually becomes a giant. But compound interest only exerts power when you're disciplined enough and you're not persistent enough. Many new people get some dividends or profits. I hurried out to spend. They forget that every early withdrawal is to cut down a branch of the future tree yourself. And then the compounding cycle. To operate at full power, it was broken. In addition, reinvesting also requires alertness. If the business or investment channel you initially chose, they no longer maintain quality, just keep reinvesting. It can also cause you to fall into a downward spiral. So reinvesting doesn't mean going blind. That need to be accompanied by periodic monitoring and evaluation. The key point is, don't let impatience ruin the long-term game. In today's fast food era, patience is a luxury. But patience is the secret weapon to help compound interest come into full play. Let's imagine, as long as you skip a few fancy coffee times a month, and instead of reinvesting that money, 15 or, you might be surprised at the amount of money you have. Reinvestment also teaches we've got a bigger lesson in thinking. It's learning to delay enjoyment, to move towards the big goal. Sometimes you have to wonder, I want a new motorcycle today, or want a solid financial foundation after 15. The answer is not easy, but those who choose to be patient, usually the one who reaps the sweet fruit. So if you're looking for the secret to sustainable wealth, remember the compound interest cycle. It's not noisy, not flashy, but quiet and sure. And maybe after 25 you'll be like a rose. Smiling, I looked back and saw that your discipline and patience turned a small amount every day. It's a huge asset. And then you'll understand why people call compounding is a financial miracle. That I can also touch. as long as you are patient enough to go with it to the end of the road. Property number 7. Product number. Digital products are now close to our lives. It's what you make once, with my gray matter, and then put it on online platforms, for sale every day, hours without having to pack. Transportation or inventory. Ebook online course. Set template design. They can all be money machines. Active 2 out of 7. Even when you're sleeping or traveling. You just need to make a small document. For example, 30-day English speaking essentials. You only need to invest once in writing. Design editor. Then you give. It's on a platform like Amazon Kindle. Or a personal sales page. From that moment, anyone in the world, you can also buy your products with just a few clicks. Mouse. You don't have to send copies. There is no need to ship. Everything is completely automated, and the money just kept dripping. Regularly flows to the account like an open tap. A story from a friend. I love the design, and regularly tinkering on Canva. One day she had an idea. Create post templates on social media platforms, Pinterest image sharing, to support for marketers. And selling online is to take these designs to an international platform, get the price right and leave it there. Unexpected results. Every month she regularly receives about 6 million VND. That doesn't make you a billionaire right away. But it's a passive income. It helps you feel more secure financially, more money to invest in other interests. The most attractive thing about the main digital product, its infinite humanity. You sell 1 copy or 1,000 copies, the cost is almost constant. It's very different from opening a traditional store, where each product sold means lose more cost of goods. Shipping, packing. With the number 1 product once you've created, the border is no longer a barrier. Customers may come from the US, Japan, Australia, or at home. You just need to get a good night's sleep. The system automatically handles everything. However, if your product is of poor quality, it doesn't solve the real problem for the customer. It is difficult to sell on any platform. In a world full of information, customers only spend money on what meets their needs. So invest in product quality. It's something that can't be ignored. One more point to keep in mind: marketing. A great ebook or template. But no one knows. It's like a jewel hidden in a cave. You need to promote. Share personal brand building. Let customers trust you and find you. It could be blogging. Make videos to share experiences, or simply upload it frequently on social networks to create a presence. And of course, the risk of copying always exists. Once the digital product goes online, the risk of being copied or distributed is hard to avoid. But instead of worrying too much, let's focus on building branding and enhancing unique value. When customers believe in you, they'll choose to buy from official sources, instead of looking for a copy. Digital products don't just generate cash flow, it also helps you extract value from wisdom itself. And his skills. Everyone has a unique ability to teach a foreign language. Writing, photography, design, programming, or simply the tricks of life. All can be packed into products. And put it online. All you need is to dare to start. If you thought only the rich could sleep, there is still money running back. Then the digital product will surprise you. A little bit of skill, a little bit of patience. That might be all you need to start this journey. And you know what? Just a few months later, you're just like you again. Smile when you see the good news in your bank account, without having to work overtime or wake up early. Remember the idea in your head today. It could be a source of passive income tomorrow. What matters is that you can turn it into a product, and let it work for itself or not. Property number 8. Creative content and copyright. Creative content and copyright. It's one of the roads, the most exciting passive income of the digital age. Instead of buying land or building houses, you can use 9 minds. My interests and passion. to make traditional products. And from there the money started to flow back. The mechanism sounds simple. You create a video on YouTube, TikTok. Make a podcast or write music and make money from advertising. Copyright and trademark cooperation contracts. But behind the simplicity, it's a creative journey. Sometimes it's stressful, but it's also fun. Let's say you build a YouTube channel that reviews junk food. It's just a couple of videos from an old phone. Quality is translucent, but thanks to the armpit talk gracefully honestly, the channel gradually attracts viewers. After a few years of persistence, the channel reached 100,000 subscribers. From there every month the channel owner, you can earn a few $1,000s through advertising. There are even food brands. Invite to cooperate to promote products. What is worth saying, the owner of the canal didn't pay to build a house. Buy machines that only use the right passion and patience to turn the phone into a money machine. Today the world, children love this job because it gives them freedom. You can start from anywhere. It's not limited by borders or capital. You just have to have a phone, a little bit of bravery and spirit. You've been able to create products and share them with the world. This is equal opportunity for everyone. A young man in a small country. You can make videos about local food and make millions of people around the world curious. Enjoy. A stay-at-home mom. You can share your parenting experience and get empathy. Hundreds of thousands of other parents. Apart from advertising, content creation also brings many other sources of revenue. You can sell copyrights, get brand sponsorships, open an online course or sell your own products. That's how a small channel started. It can be a real personal brand. It creates income and opens up many doors of opportunity. But behind the million-view channels, it's a bunch of channels, a couple of 10 views and then giving up. Content creation requires perseverance and the ability to innovate continuously. The income doesn't come immediately, and the competition is getting more intense. Today's viewers have too many choices. And if you're not attractive enough, they'll be able to glide through in a matter of seconds. This is the biggest challenge. How to keep patience when the fruit has not yet come, and do SEO to stay creative. In a world that changes every day, the pressure comes from yourself. When you start having income, you may feel compelled to video out every week, every day. If you don't know balance, passion can turn into a burden. So it's important to be clear. You do content for passion, and money is just a bonus. When you keep that spirit, you'll see the journey is light and much more sustainable. Content creation and copyright. If you look the right way, it's one of the forms of passive income. It's both modern and humane. It allows you to turn ideas into value. Turn your interest into a financial resource. Maybe it's just a hobby like cooking. Plant a tree or tell a story. You open up a steady stream of cash, fostering your own dream of financial freedom. And here you may also realize an interesting fact. That sounds exciting, for example. But to turn all these ideas of income, passivity into reality, there's still a huge gap. The distance is called action. Not a few people, after watching a video or read a book about finance, the burning air filled a notebook. But a few weeks later, everything was forgotten. It's like sowing seeds without watering them. The tree has not grown yet. The first rule sounds small, but it's the foundation. So let's start with the closest thing. You don't have to have a few $100s right away to buy a house for rent. There is no need to create an online course. Monumental, only one spare room for rent. An old laptop to rent out. Or even a small TikTok channel. Share the knowledge you have. It was also the beginning. What's important is not scale, it's that you actually planted the seed. The second principle is patience. Passive income is not ready-made coffee. Drink it right away. It's like brewing wine for as long as it's good. If you expect to make money in a few months, You will probably get 7 points and give up. The result only until you're persistent enough to get through the months. The cash flow is not big enough. The third principle is diversification. Put your trust in a source of income. It's like sitting in a chair with only one leg. Fell first after all. Instead, let's build multiple parallel cash flows. Can be a little bit smaller from rental space. A little from fund certificate investment, a little from digital products. When a line is affected, other lines still feed you. The fourth principle. Sometimes few people mention it. It's about protecting your copyright and your personal brand. Struggling to create a digital product or a content channel. I don't care about copyright, it's easy to be stolen. In the internet age, the most valuable thing you own is not just the product. It's about personal integrity. Brand protection, that's how you keep your cash flow free. What's useless? The last lesson is simple. Without action, all theories are meaningless. How many books to read and how many videos to watch? How much advice? It doesn't help you get one more. If you just sit and think. Success doesn't come from knowing more. It comes from doing more. So, instead of wondering when you're going to have passive income, try it today. Be small and patiently care for the seed to grow. One day, you will sit in the shadow. It's the tree you braved. Planting feeling. And after saying a lot about passive income generation channels, you'd be wondering, so where do we start? Is there a formula for turning theory into reality? The answer is yes. And it's a simple 4-step path. It's not complicated. It doesn't require you to be a financial expert. If you really want to start, the first step is to assess and prepare resources. Just like before sailing, you need to know what kind of boat you have. How and food RASAO. In your boat, finance is the current capital. The time you can spend. And personal skills as well. People with little capital but many skills can choose product number. People with idle capital, again, can choose real estate or fund certificate. It's important that you know where you stand before thinking about going away. The second step is choice. The right model. This is when you need to be most alert. Stay away from get rich quick. Light work, high income, or sitting around playing and the money is still on its own. With such invitations, often lead directly into the financial trap of institutions. Instead of dreaming, choose a realistic model. Feasible and in line with the goals you set. If you want a stable income, think about a certificate. Want to exploit existing assets? Real estate rental or equipment rental? It's a good choice. What's important is that it stays on top of your situation, not run on the pink promise. The third step is to start implementing and optimizing gradually. Here's the hardest part. Because many people are eager to learn, but stop at thinking. You can do less as long as you start. As long as you start. Maybe the first cash flow is a few $100,000 a month, but it's the seed for a whole financial garden later. Once you've sown, you continue to water the pruning. It means optimizing how you do it. Adjust to be more efficient. Passive income sounds like sleeping money. But before that, there has to be a time when you're persistent. Get up and work with a clear goal. The final step is effective monitoring. And adjust the strategy. No plan is perfect forever. The market changes. Technology changes. The need to change. And you also need to be flexible. Let's set the checkpoints. After BA 6 months a year. Did the results reach the initial goal? If the shooting rotation is not adjusted, or try another model. Patience and spirit. This activity will help you maintain and expand a sustainable source of passive income. So with just 4 clear steps of preparation, deployment and tracking options, you've got a simple enough recipe. Be sure enough to act. And most importantly, only when you really start, the dream cash flows become cash flows. It really flows into my pocket, so we've been on a long journey together. Full discovery of BA passive income generating groups. From tangible assets like real estate, equipment rental, or space exploitation, to the financial world with compounding bond dividends. And finally, there's the intelligence and digital technology group, where digital products, creative content can take you to the global market. Let's try to imagine, a small stream will not be enough to sustain you for long. But when many small streams meet, they form a great river that flows endlessly. The same goes for passive income. Don't underestimate the modest initial cash flow, because they're in resonance will create a sustainable financial river, feed you all your life. And what's important is that passive income is not a distant dream. It's the inevitable result of the seeds you sow today. A small room for rent, an ebook that writes itself, a small amount of reinvestment. Everything can become a tree. If you are patient with care, tomorrow they will be big trees. Into the whole garden, finance give you shade and sweet fruit. Financial freedom doesn't come from a big win, one lucky hit. It comes from small, steady steps, patiently accumulating through the months. People are richer than you, not because they're smarter. It's because they started sowing earlier and more consistently. Now I want to hear from you. In these 8 ways, where do you start? Please leave your answer in the comment section below. Let yourself commit, with yourself, and also to inspire others. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to sign up to stay with me on the road to financial freedom. And finally, a word of encouragement. Don't wait long enough to start. Let's start so that one day you will be enough.